and we are live. Another Founder Wisdom Pod with Anu Shukla. Got the honor to interview Anu today. She is co-founder and executive chairman at Botco.ai, founded a bunch of startups before, got a wealth of experience, are really excited to get into it. Podcast today is brought to you by podpire.com. If you want to start, scale, or be invited to a podcast like this one, that is my podcast agency, podpire.com. Without further ado, we have Anu Shukla with us today. Anu, can you tell us a bit more about yourself and Botco?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me today. Real pleasure to meet you as well. And I'm a serial entrepreneur who has now graduated to being a parallel entrepreneur. So parallel means I've no more time left to do things serially. So I do a bunch of things together. All right. Actually, that is a term. People are talking about it. So my background is I've founded and exited, 5 companies. I'm involved in one right now called Botco.ai, which is riding the wave of generative AI. And it's generative AI applied to specific vertical segments, but generally to a wide range of marketing applications within healthcare, behavioral health, senior living, these kind of like specialized, fine-tuned language models that is applied to, compressing workflow within enterprises. We are targeting, companies that are between $100 million to $1 billion, so somewhat the mid-market or departmental applications. And we started 3 or 4 years ago and have really worked hard to develop the AI models that are suitable for enterprises, which means we have to create chatbots that don't hallucinate, that take care of privacy, that watch out for your data, and that the data is not compromised, and take care of other regulatory needs like CCPA or GDPR, and all done within a framework of our platform and generative AI, so that you can provide AI-assisted answers to move your prospects along and to service your customers. So yeah, I'll try to keep my answers shorter in the future, but that was a big question.
It wasn't that long, actually. You did a good job there. Botco was started 6-7 years ago. So it seems like you folks were on trend before Gen AI was trendy. Or what was the thesis? Because I remember chatbots during these days. I was running my Facebook ads agency with ManyChat and ChatFuel. And these AIs, they weren't smart at all. They were mostly for lead gen and if this, then that. I've also followed the scene, had various friends in the chatbot scene, even in the chatbot AI scene before OpenAI and ChatGPT. How has the vision started and how has it evolved to today?
Absolutely. So we started actually just a little bit before the pandemic. And for the 3 co-founders, it was a bit of a side project at that time. We thought we would just, go out and service some of our favorite clients and investigate this area more. We did know that all the chatbots were pretty dumb and they were scripted. And we felt that there was an opportunity to apply AI and have more generative AI capabilities to these interactions and make them smarter. And we targeted a few customers and we started to work with them to see what they would like. And then we realized it was having a really good ROI for them. And so we spent 2-3 years just developing the technology. Just 2-3 years ago, actually, about 3 years into our history, that when we incorporated the company actually formally and raised some money. And if you want something to grow and prosper, at some point you have to raise money, right? So once we raised money, we were able, and then the pandemic hit. We raised money, pandemic hit. What do? Well, we really pivoted towards more healthcare applications because it was feeling a big need. People couldn't see you in person. And they still had to get, interactions done, and sort of the digital front door was kind of a priority. And so we pivoted really towards more, becoming HIPAA-compliant. And then it takes a while to build an enterprise platform, get SOC 2 compliant, figure out all of the filters that you need to make sure data isn't compromised. So I would say last year we really hit our stride. We've raised about $5 million so far, and we have about over 30 plus customers now that are fully deployed, getting huge ROI. We focused our language models focused on the segments that we were having the most ROI in, which is healthcare, behavioral health, and also senior living. And over there, we're seeing a big need, and we're able to repeat some of the things that we have learned. And I think we've hit a stride now. So it's now all about growth. How about get more logos, get more companies deployed. So that's kind of a brief history in time.
And why wouldn't a healthcare company plug in with ChatGPT, tell it to act as a great nurse or something, or a great customer service person? Wouldn't that be simpler than paying a chatbot company for $25K a month? What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I'm sure there are companies that charge $25K a month, but that's not us. So we're catering to the needs of the middle market, the $100 million to $1 billion companies who have enterprise requirements. They also have the necessity to get up and running quickly, and they don't want to spend $25K a month. They want to spend anywhere from $5K a month to $10K a month, depending on the complexity of the application. So the reason why you wouldn't unfiltered go into something like a ChatGPT or any other, I don't want to pick on them, any other large language model in an unfiltered way is, by the way, these are great products and we use them too. But for enterprises, they have to have integration within their other systems. They have to have a workflow that fits into their way they do their processes. So they have to design a workflow. They have to use images and things like that. They also cannot afford hallucinations. So you can't have these LLMs that are getting stupider. One day they're very stupid, other day they're making up stuff. You can't have that. You cannot enter your proprietary data, your product plans, your speeds and fees into a public domain and make it available to everyone. Or even if you use the paid version, it is still sitting on somebody else's server and it's subject to certain kind of security issue. And you also need to be training it on your data, which is your advantage, versus sharing that data with anyone else. So there's a variety of reasons that you cannot just, in an unfiltered way, allow your enterprise, which is actually a bunch of people, to use a ChatGPT interface and put all your data in there, right? And so this is where people like us come in, where we create a platform where you can train your application, your chatbot, on your own data in a private and secure manner. You can, you can share your customer data on an instance with us, which is HIPAA validated and SOC 2 compliant. And you also can assure yourself that there's no hallucinations. Plus, you have an interface that allows you to look at what's going on in terms of what the chatbot is doing and improve it. And then you can also use ChatGPT or anything like that, but with the right guardrails. So we use ChatGPT all the time. For what? To say, hey, tell me the million ways that you can ask, what is the symptom of depression that I'm having? Okay. What's the 100 ways? Or the 100 questions can come up. Give me the 100 questions and I'll give you the answers, right? And then I'll fold that into my flow. Give me the trigger words that tell you that somebody needs to call the suicide hotline. All of those things. So we use at the back end, we use ChatGPT and other products in many creative ways, but our enterprise customers are rest assured that they're not going to have compromised data, compromised health data, compromised or hallucination or stupid answers. Okay. So this
Right.
is why you need that enterprise platform that harnesses the power of large language models while also having the ability to train on your own data, right? Your
Right.
own data about what you want to tell your customer because it's from your product specs, right?
Right.
And privately. So we
And how
combine.
do they upload that data? What kind of data is it? Is it like past interactions with on the chat with customers, with CS agents? What data do you upload in there?
Okay, so you don't have to actually upload the data. If you want to, yes, we have the capability. So we have what we call the Gen AI chat cloud from Botco.ai, and it has multiple AI units. One of them features or products, one of them is called InstaStack. So InstaStack, basically you can upload documents in there, or we have a crawler, and the crawler can go crawl whatever you want. So we can look at um, data sheets, your website, question and answers that happened before in your call center, transcripts, all of the things that you want us to look at, speeds and feeds and everything else, right? And this is what we train our data on. And you don't even have to upload it. We'll just crawl it. You just tell us where it is. We'll go crawl it, and then we'll create the question answer sets for you. And you can look at it and you can put it into the workflow that you want. And then if there are answers that we don't feel are good, we can go out to an LLM and get it and let you take a look at it. And so you can combine the two. And we do that without taking your product specs and feeding it into ChatGPT.
Love it. I should have started with that, but what's your background? I see a 366 million exit in 2000s. That is not small. So can you let us know like what happened there? That was like right after or even before the .com crash. I'd be curious to learn more about that one.
Sure. Actually, I have $1 billion in exits. One of them happened last year. I started a company called Tabjoy, and that got sold to Iron Source, which got sold to Unity, by the way. And it's in the gaming monetization, mobile ad monetization area. It was sold for $400 million cash last year. I had a company called MyBuys, which was an e-commerce recommendation engine that was sold for about 200 million about 5 years ago. And then the first company I ever did was a company called Rubric. Rubric was basically raised $13 million and was sold for 366 million in 18 months. And it was one of the pioneers and one of the first companies that was working on enterprise marketing automation. So the time when we were trying to raise money for Rubric, many of the Sandhill VCs told us it's an oxymoron, marketing can be automated. It was that new. And now look how hot marketing automation is, right? With multiple players and billions of dollars invested by enterprises into marketing automation. When we started Rubric, it was like, can marketing really be automated? But we started with 3 great customers: Cisco, Hewlett Packard, and General Motors, the loans division. Those were our first 3 customers. We got 25 customers in 1 year, raised $13 million, and sold the company for 366 million to a publicly traded company.
How did you feel after these exits? Because you were probably broke before that as a founder. We all are. And now all of a sudden, centimillionaire. Like what? How does that feel?
Well, that feels great. And we were very lucky because the whole thing happened in 18 months. And when we had raised less money. And so, you had the option now to try out different things. I decided that I really liked the idea of creating new products and working with really smart people and, adding value. And I really liked that whole rush. So that's why I became a serial entrepreneur. Now that I've done it 4 or 5 times and I'm doing Botco with the co-founders, what I've realized is I can probably have the bandwidth if I don't try to do everything myself and work with teams of people that are ready to, do some of the heavy lifting, that I can really leverage myself better. So I can focus on things that I have real passion about. One of them is really supporting underserved founders. So with Elevate VC, we have a second fund. I'm a venture partner there, and I work with this great team of people and entrepreneurs and founders that are usually, not well represented in the funding scheme of things. So they're women, they're minorities, and we get to give them their first money, and their first check is working out really well. And so I love working with these new founders, working with my and helping the companies by joining their boards or just being an advisor or just helping them with different projects. So that's my venture partner role at Elevate VC, which is close to my heart. I definitely love Botco with the cutting edge AI, generative AI being applied to enterprise marketing, which was the first company I ever did. And I'm working with my co-founder from Rubric, which is Chris Maida. Dr. Maida is our CTO, and with a young and upcoming awesome female entrepreneur who I like to support, female entrepreneurs anyway, because they're also underrepresented. It's called Rebecca Clyde, who's awesome. So I just love the situation at Botco, where I'm not doing the heavy lifting. She is, but I'm, a co-founder and adding value as the best way that I can. And in addition to that, I've branched out into other things as well. Like, for example, I realized that medical care was not that accessible to people because you came to a situation where, you are either going to an emergency room because you need to see a doctor right away, or you're trying to make an appointment with your own doctor who always has a 6-week waiting time. And so I really like the model of having the urgent care. And one of our clients at our AI company was a company called American Family Care. And they basically are a franchise of urgent care. So I decided to open a chain of urgent cares. So I'm doing that. So I love that. It's very different. And then I realized there was a big need, working with that community for special. There was just a program on NPS that I was listening to as I was coming in. There's a higher level of autism in our youth today, maybe because it's being diagnosed better, but literally 9%, people have special needs or special education needs, and the issue is, do we integrate them into our schools? They're going to be disruptive to other kids. Do we keep them separate? Do we bus them here and there? Well, I realized in our own area, we have a big need for it. So I joined up with a team of special education teachers that opened a non-public school. And I became an investor and a participant in that, applying AI to train nonverbal autistic kids. So that's a beautiful thing that's also started. And then I have 2 college-going kids. They just graduated and they're heading off to their college careers, and I'm busy, shopping for their dorm supplies and about to drop them off. So I think it keeps that and my golden retriever keep me pretty busy.
You have time for 2, 3 more questions?
Sure.
All right. So the first one is, you were an Indian woman back in these days. You still are, but back in these days, you were probably like the only one that successful in the Valley. Did you have folks helping you to get there? Did you have support to get there? Did it feel rough at times? What happened there? And do you recommend nowadays women to get that support? Because I find that some people have got zero support back in these days, and because they had that huge chip on their shoulder, they could make it by themselves. And nowadays they're like, okay, I'm gonna help people. So do you feel that helping people is still the good way, or just like fight or flight mode, survive if you can, and thrive and get on top like miraculously? Because isn't that the nature of unicorns? It's like the oddest people that win. So yeah, there was like 10 questions in there.
Yeah. Well, I certainly think that things are better now than they were 20 years ago when I got started. And there were some other female entrepreneurs that came before me and during and after. I think the dot-com boom was a great time for many women to get out and take a chance because the market was so frothy and funding was a little easier. And I think that over time, more women have become venture capitalists, more women have become entrepreneurs, more women have had success. So all of us build on generations before us and try to help people that come after us. For example, one of the things I do is support, like go teach a women's leadership class in Santa Clara University every summer with somebody who's doing it, just give a couple of lectures on a couple of days. And I love meeting the professional women that are getting an MBA and and they usually work in big companies and trying to tell them what being an entrepreneur is like and what lessons they can learn and things like that. I believe women still need more funding, resources, and networks. But I do believe that we have improved over time. I've certainly seen that myself. Okay. I was definitely more unique then than many of female entrepreneurs are now because it's been done before. And every time you have like a wave, like the internet, Java, AI, it's a great opportunity for people who haven't thought about entrepreneurship to jump in there because there's so many things to be done. It's like, how can I apply AI to doing better X, better marketing, better support, better image generation, better blog writing, better podcasting, right? And every way, if you look into that really with a creative mind that's trying to solve problems, you can apply. It's like a platform shift, and you can apply it. Like social came out; it was a big shift as well, and a lot of people started to do social networks, and all of these companies were born then. So I think that is these kind of shifts are whenever they come along, and they do come along every 5-10 years, is a great opportunity and a big boost for people that have not previously thought of an entrepreneurship path to try it.
With $1 billion in exit, if I'm not mistaken, you're the founder with the female founder with the most cash from exits. Like, I cannot think of anyone else, or can I?
Oh no, of course you can.
Who?
Well, there's Arista Networks. She's a self-made billionaire. She's a female founder. Yeah.
Okay.
And oh God, there's so many. I'm trying to think of, oh yeah, the person who was heading up Yahoo. What's her
Yeah, I
name?
remember her.
Cheryl, the one
Cheryl
who, yeah, the Goldberg, right?
Sandberg.
Sandberg, sorry. Her husband was Goldberg. Yeah.
Cheryl's the founder.
Well, she was one of the earliest people in Facebook.
Right, but that's not the founder. She joined like as an exec, So
She did make money billions of dollars. So
yeah. But she wasn't the founder. So like that's the different breed, It's like an exec that joined a Wall Street back company.
yeah. Well,
That's
the
super impressive.
Arista networks. I mean, I think there are others which I'm glad of, right?
Yeah.
I'm really happy to see that. And even before Sandy Kurtzig, Carol Bartz, many of them had entrepreneurial leanings, or at least Sandy Kurtzig started one of the first accounting software companies. So that was much before my time.
Right.
So I would say that I'm happy to be one of the serial entrepreneurs in this group, but they are others, my peers that I admire and look up to.
Well,
And
I'm admiring you right now. It's like so exceptional. The only analogy that I have is like a salmon going upstream, a very strong salmon that miraculously made it to the top. It's because you had a lot playing against you, and especially in the Silicon Valley, not people realize that. Yeah, it's still a lot of testosterone up there. It's like, yeah, New York, it's a bit worse, but you had to show like your intellectual prowess and fight for your way through, and that's so impressive.
Thank you. I'm all still learning. It's always I tell you what, I just follow my instincts. If I have a good idea and I think it has legs, I have this process now because I've done it so many times of how to vet it out. And I also really depend on and rely on my team. So, building a good team and having people that think like you or are able to think separately from you and help you, that's really important. This is part of my pattern that I follow. And then, the things that you have to do, the sacrifices that you have to make, the kind of people that you have to hire, all of that is really, really exciting. And yeah, I just kind of follow my instinct. And if I feel like this is a good idea or there's a big need for it, then I pursue it.
Right. And I feel nowadays you're way more heart-centered now that you quote unquote maxed out the capitalist game. I'm pretty sure you're still chasing something there, but that's also what I seek to do, invest more of my time. I interviewed Calvin Goffert last week. He does a venture studio in the biotech and medtech field. And it's just so interesting, right? Saving lives while making money. Why not? And I'm seeing that you're doing that yourself. What's next for you? Like what are you chasing this year?
So this year I'm definitely chasing Botco, because Botco.ai is at the center of this great wave of generative AI. And there's so many things that we can do. But I'm looking at the technology that we've developed at Botco.ai, and I can apply it to teaching autistic kids, nonverbal kids. I can apply it to hospitals. A chain of hospitals now in Asia is looking at it, of how can we do better with our customer or patient experience, using this technology. There's just so many ways that you can apply it. The trick in generative AI is to stay focused. And we have an excellent team, an excellent CEO. I'm working with people I worked with for 20 years, like Chris Maida, Dr. Maida. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity at Botco.ai. So I would say my primary focus is there. But as I mentioned before, I really like to pursue things that I feel are doing good, like our school for autistic kids, and our fund for underrepresented founders, where I get to interact and hobnob with other founders, and they remind me of myself like 15 years ago. And hopefully I can help them a little bit, and they can not make the same mistakes I made, but different ones.
What mistakes did you do? What lessons did you learn from that to close this off?
Well, I think that one of the things that I did was not really value my team as I should have, right? I mean, I was always micromanaging or thinking I could do it all myself, where you're so much better off when you hire the right team and let them do their job, right? That's a learning process. In the beginning, and especially when you're younger, you think you can do it all. And entrepreneurs have that tendency of, I'll just do it myself. If I want it done right, I'll do it myself. And really, the trick is, if you want it done right, you give it to the person who's really best at it and let them do it. And that needs to be part of you. That's a big thing that I learned. Second thing is, being a little impatient. So one thing that you can learn, no matter what you say about Mark Zuckerberg, he's a great entrepreneur. And Mark Zuckerberg, I think he had a lot of patience, because as Facebook was taking off, he got a lot of opportunities, offers from Yahoo and other people to buy him, and he just basically said no. And he had sort of this ability to see ahead and have a delayed gratification need. And sometimes we entrepreneurs can be in a big hurry to have exits and not optimize our opportunity. I could go on and on, Charles. I've learned a lot. And at least you can learn from your mistakes. That's a good thing. But I made plenty.
Yeah, as one should, right? That's entrepreneurship. Startups, it's trying 100 times, succeeding twice, maybe, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
I've learned and I've got inspired a lot by listening to you today. So thank you for that. That was quite cool. Thank you so much for coming, Anu. Where can people find out more about you?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn. And you can just find me Anu Shukla. You can also find me at the Botco website, and you can email me at anu.shukla@botco.ai, and I'm there.
And I am Charles Cormier, your host. If you want to start, scale, or be invited to a pod that is